I'm Ted Fisher. I'm here to give my testimony and talk about my relationship with Jesus Christ and the profound effect that He has had on my life. I came from a Baptist family. My mother was quite religious, and I was brought up in the Baptist faith, and I was originally saved at 11 years old. I did that at a summer camp up in the Bighorn Mountains, and that time I was really into the Christ religion, the Christian religion, and considered a career as a pastor. Then within a few months, I guess I'd kind of got in with the wrong crowd of kids and got in trouble and in school and out of school, and anyhow, I spent the next 35 years going the wrong way, moving away from Christ, and I just was wanting more and more things and more material things, and whether it was a better, faster motorcycle or a faster car or prettier girlfriend or whatever the case might be, just was wanting and just couldn't satisfy that. I did have some good times in there though too that were, as satisfying for me as I was on search and rescue in Johnson County, and I had some good experiences with that, but still had this big hole in my life I couldn't fill. Then by 2008, I was settled in pretty well and into a good job I liked, and life was going pretty good. I had a good job and with benefits and a girlfriend, and had a couple motorcycles, and I was racing stock cars, and I still was kind of a thrill seeker, I guess, but could never fill that big hole in my life. Then on Labor Day weekend in 2009, I was racing my stock car, and I raced Friday night and won both my races. Was feeling real good, feeling on top of the world. Woke up in the middle of the night that night and had some intense shoulder and back pain, and finally went into the emergency room the next day, and just about the same time my fingers had quit moving, and within 4 hours I was paralyzed and couldn't walk anymore, and went into emergency surgery that night, and woke up 2 days later in the intensive care unit. I was a quadriplegic. I could barely move my left arm and nothing else. Then over the next few days I developed a little bit of movement, and I went into rehab hospital and 2 different ones, and I was able to recover some movement in my arms, and I was in rehab for the next 4 months, and I just couldn't understand why and how this could happen to me, and I hated my life. I made a feeble attempt at suicide, and it didn't work, luckily, and after the rehab I went to a nursing home here in Casper, and And I just couldn't believe how my life had changed. I went from a somewhat satisfied life to a life I just absolutely hated. Couldn't believe I was 46 years old and in a nursing home, and life felt like it was over for me. I was done. I didn't want to do it anymore. I wanted to die. I just felt worthless and useless, and took about a year and a half to hit rock bottom, and at that point I was really hating life. I hated God for doing this to me, and anytime I mentioned God, it was in a negative way. And then in 2010, I went to a Christmas service at a local church here, and really broke down. I just was crying and just couldn't control it, and I just that was rock bottom for me. And I knew right then that I had to come back to Christ. And over the next few months I was trying to do that, but I was still resisting and just couldn't make it happen. Knew I had to come back to Christ, but I was still resisting. And a few months later, I was in the hospital with a blood clot in my lung. Was in pretty serious condition. Really contemplated on just stopping all meds, and thought about maybe that'd be the way out and still be an acceptable way to die in the eyes of Christ. And lying in bed one day, and Doug Bradley, a member of Cornerstone Church here, an elder here at Cornerstone, came into my room and asked me if I'd mind if he came in and talked to me about Christ. And I said no, I'd like that. And we talked a while, and I started coming to Cornerstone Church regularly, and studying and listening and studying the Bible. And the more I studied and the more I read, I was beginning to get back into a good relationship with Christ, and then it just one day it just suddenly hit me, like I've always been pretty hard-headed. It took me took a pretty good whack to make me realize it, but I suddenly knew why I'd been paralyzed, and it was to come back and do work for God. It was His way of bringing me back. I did probably pass by several other opportunities to come back to Christ. I can think of several along the way. And then in November of 2011, it was November 10th, my whole life had been changed. That was the day I was baptized. And just things have been going great since then. And even in spite of being a quadriplegic still, confined to a wheelchair, got a full life now. I don't feel like I'm longing for anything, I'm looking for anything. I've my whole life transformed at that point when I was baptized, and I I don't, even having very little money now, I don't have any issues with that. I get by on what I have real well, and I'm just, my whole life is happy now. I've got a good relationship with Christ. I found that big empty hole I was trying to fill, and that's what it was. It was that longing for a good relationship with Christ and a good view on my Christian fellowship. And I feel like money is cause of a lot of the problems in life today for everybody. Divorce and things like that. It causes greed and pride, and brings out all kinds of sins in people. It's just, I think it's, in our society, it's a big problem. There's 11 words that were spoken by John Crabtree, an elder here at Cornerstone, that really describe my relationship with Christ and my life right now. And my life is fulfilled. It is, the 11 words are, He had it all, lost it all, to find it all. And He had it all, that means that I had all of the material things that people want in life. House, car, nice car, boat, motorcycles, whatever it happened to be. And lost it all. And that meant that the material things in my life went away. Had a little help with from Medicaid to take care of that for me. It kind of made that easier, but and to find it all, and to find it all meant to find it all with Christ, and I really have. My life is fulfilled now. I don't have any of those desires or a big hole to fill, or just wanting more and more, and I don't have any of that anymore. I think God gives us several chances throughout life to come to Him if we're going down the wrong road, and I can think of several that were opportunities that came along to me that I ignored them, and finally God got my attention by paralyzing me, and I'm happy that He did. I kind of wish I would have listened a little sooner, but I didn't. But I'm still happy. I'm happy, very happy now that my life has turned around, and I'm just happy for every day, and every day is going to be a good day. Might have a little more pain than others, but it's not going to be a bad day.